So, as most of us know, Squad is currently undergoing a substantial transformation in the shape of the Infantry combat overhaul to put the game back on track with the original vision set by the developers. As of this video, there has been 3 playtests, 1 private and then 2 public. Between the playtests have been a couple of very minor tweaks and adjustments to parameters on top of a couple of additional features that have been added in. And that's what this video is going to be focusing on. The 2 new mechanics that OWI squeezed in being the variable magnification on the marksman rifles and the canted sight point fire mechanic for the AK-12. But the other purpose of this video is to take a look at a few other mechanics and features that would really complement the upcoming changes and add even more depth to the infantry gameplay, and, if implemented, could even help Squad become one of the greatest first-person shooter experiences available on the market. To start off, we will look at the new canted or angled point fire mechanic for the AK-12. As it stands, this is an experimental feature that I didn't even know about until one of the developers hopped into one of my streams and said, "Hey, grab that AK kit and try this out." And let me tell you, for such a small feature, I was blown away. As many of you will have experienced, the new point fire mechanic mixed with weapon handling and weapon sway that has been implemented together is rather unpredictable and hard to read. I don't want to say it's crap because it's not finished, but in its current state, yeah, it's not great. It's impossible to read, your gun flops about all over the parish, and, well, yeah, I just don't enjoy it personally. The system we have for the AK-12, however, is a whole different situation entirely. It's efficient, it's readable, it looks real, and for the first time during the playtests, I feel like my soldier is actually connected to the rifle. It's not laser beam accurate, as weapon sway and stamina does still have an effect on it, but due to the positioning and the way the rifle is held, you get a solid point of reference to aim with, rather than an extremely volatile and unpredictable one with the more basic hipfire mechanic. It is a little clunky and needs some polish, but finally you can actually do some good work in close quarters without looking like one of those people you see in home movies who knock themselves out with their own firearm. To use this, you have to use the iron sight AK-12, start sprinting forwards, and then aim down sights, and hey presto, have fun. When stationary for about 5 to 10 seconds, your weapon is straightened out, and you aim down your sights as normal. A couple of little things with this mechanic though. I wouldn't be against this becoming the default way to point fire, and would love to see it across all of the rifles, be it iron sight, red dot, or scoped, and rather than being enabled by certain movement, find a way that we can also choose this via a key binding, like holding left alt with right click for example. It's a great mechanic that will not only help out a lot of players, but it just adds depth to the gameplay that keeps things realistic yet fun, and really adds to the immersion. So I'm excited to see how this is developed and progresses as time goes on. The next big addition was to the marksman rifles, and that is the variable magnification. Finally, the marksman kits can be used to their full potential and no longer just be a noob trap. Being able to change the level of zoom on these optics has been a huge game changer, and whilst you can only rotate through 3 different zoom settings, it already feels pretty seamless. But furthermore, it gives a whole new level of immersive opportunities. With the new suppression system, you do feel this more, especially when you're on your maximum zoom setting. But one thing I have noticed already is whoever runs the marksman kit going forwards will need to be a good shot and make your shots count. Because if you miss and the enemy sees your muzzle flash or hears where you fired from, all it takes is for an MG or someone to just aim at your building and you have been rendered useless due to the suppression. But having that zoom really opens up the opportunities to start engaging enemies from range. This also means you can get into Overwatch and covering fire positions. Once the infantry overhaul is looking more or less completed, expect a bunch of new guides from me, covering different roles and kits, but rest assured, marksman will probably be one of the first ones that I cover, as a lot of you know, it's a role that I thoroughly enjoy within Squad. Now when it comes to new features, I'm going to kind of stick with the marksman kit here to start with, but part of this goes out to all kits that use the optics. That first change is to ditch the external blur effect around the optic and give us the true picture-in-picture experience. That external blur just feels counterproductive and cheap, and on top of this, when unscoping to start moving around, your eyes and brain naturally tries to counteract the blurriness from the transitional effect, thus leading to strained eyes and headaches. And I'm not the only one who's complained about this. That's been something that a lot of people have been very vocal about. Sorry, but the whole, oh, it's to simulate having an eyes closed theory can get in the bin if it's causing people actual headaches. End of the day, we play games like this for fun. This aside, when you play games like Escape from Tarkov, Ground Branch and other titles that gives you the true picture-in-picture experience, they don't use cheap blur effects to shroud your vision. You can see through your optic and you can see around it, and that really helps with your situational awareness. And that is a very important attribute within Squad. You have the chance to see movement, especially if someone is coming in on the flank, meaning you can spot potential lone wolves that would otherwise be able to sneak around under cover of an unrealistic filter. So, even if you don't engage them, you've got the chance to call it out to your squad mates. And sticking with scoped optics, whilst the 3 level of zoom is already a huge step forward for marksmen, it would be really nice if you could actually use the optics full range. Again, I'll use Ground Branch as an example here. Whilst aiming, I can adjust my zoom by scrolling my mouse wheel, thus giving me more tools to use in any situation, and it allows me to be more precise. Again, it's the little things that really add depth and elevate the gameplay experience to another level. And finally, still with the marksman kit, but mainly the bolt action snipers, a mechanic like Tarkov's fire and hold, or Postscriptum's click to fire and then click to load your next round, would be a massive help when trying to see if you've hit your target or not, especially at range, as currently the moment you pull the trigger you bolt your next round immediately, so it's impossible to see if your shot has been on target or not. With weapon sway being such an important factor to think about, weapons with a bipod are going to be in demand, as that all but removes the sway factor. And that got me thinking, what if OWI implemented a form of weapon resting? Similar to going up to a window ledge or waist-high wall, why not allow us to rest our rifles on the same things to negate some of the sway effect and give us a little bit more control? Not only will this promote getting set up properly in defensive or ambush positions, but even whilst being offensive, will encourage people to use their surroundings to their advantage. I'm not asking for it to make the weapon a laser beam, but just a small little advantage for someone who's set up correctly rather than someone being stood out in the wide open. To complement this, Escape from Tarkov has a wonderful feature that I feel would fit into Squad extremely well, and that is the ability to change the height in which you crouch, and when controlled properly allows you to stand up and crouch down much more slowly, thus giving you more control of your weapon. The ability to scroll through your crouch stance will allow you to use things like both the firing ports on the sandbag emplacements or the sand-filled ammo boxes that militia gets. And not only that, it would allow you to correctly bipod your weapon within the HESCO bunkers that for some reason MGs and marksman rifles completely bug out in. Little features like this really pays dividends to slower and smarter gameplay, and you could really add into this, like give us the ability to walk, so you can clear out buildings with more control and precision. Hell, another fun mechanic Tarkov has is the ability to lift your rifle up and fire over the cover you're hiding behind. That would be a fantastic addition with the new suppression mechanics. And finally, for a little fun one, I would love to be able to use my shovel as a melee weapon, especially when you look at the fact that nearly every shovel has a serrated edge. At least it means when you're digging something up or down, you have the small chance to fight an enemy that has just waltzed up on you. Because as it stands, changing from shovel to sidearm or your rifle is horrifically slow, and 99 times out of 100, it's just not feasible to do. Now, don't get me wrong, I know a lot of this is going to mean more development time and more keybinds, but little features like these can really add layer upon layer of depth, engagement and immersion, which helps give Squad even more replayability. You could go wild with little features like this, like having the ability to consolidate all of your partial magazines into a full one like what they do in BattleBit, or simply the ability to use your laser target designator that's already equipped to M4s and M16s, thus giving you a point of reference when in close quarter firefights. How about reverse vaulting? Basically, instead of jumping off a wall and breaking your ankles, you can go down and lower yourself backwards. Or, when you're being boosted over a high wall by a squaddie, you can turn around and pull that person up. The possibilities are endless, but the main ones I have mentioned today are already becoming considered as a default and standard feature in many first-person shooters, as many games already have these things implemented, even on the Unreal Engine. What infantry feature would you like to see in Squad in the future? Let me know in the comments down below. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more Squad guides, gameplay and updates. Thank you all for watching, take care, and I'll catch you in the next video or in my Squad server.